So we are going to go through the instructions on how to make a reusable sanitary napkin. These are washable, and the inner napkin, absorbable napkin, can come out. And when it gets soiled, it can be replaced with a new clean one and put back into the napkin holder like this, and it can continue to be worn. This shorter portion of the sanitary napkin goes towards the front, and the longer side goes towards the back. And then it snaps under your garment to hold it in place. We'll go through the instructions on how to sew these. The first part we're going to sew is going to be the holder for the sanitary napkin. What I'm going to provide you with is, through an email, I'll be sending you a pattern for the outside of this to make this. And I'll be sending you a second part of the pattern, which is for these flaps here that you need to hold the napkin in place. And then we also need another layer of plastic in here to make it waterproof. What I would suggest is, upon getting these two patterns, you cut out this shape here and cut out and make it into a piece of very heavy fabric. So you're not using this while you sew, you're turning this heavier piece of fabric into a pattern. And the same with this. Instead of using this to sew with, cut out the shape in a heavier piece of fabric and then use this as your pattern. So we can start here. We're going to put the paper aside and we're going to use these as our patterns. The first thing we're going to do is get a piece of fabric like so, and we're going to fold the pattern or fold the fabric in half. We're going to take our pattern and pin it down, and we're going to cut it out. And this will give us two pieces, two pattern pieces. So we're going to unpin this. And now we have two pieces of fabric to make the outside holder of the sanitary pad. The next piece we're going to cut out is the flap, which are these flaps on the sanitary napkin holder. We're going to take your pattern piece and fold it in half. And now we have a fold right here. And we're going to take this piece of fabric and we're going to also fold it in half. And so we have a folded edge here. We're going to put this fabric edge and this fabric edge together. We're going to pin it in place. We're going to cut one of these out. We have to have two. So set that aside, fold it in half again, put it on your folded edge here. Again, pin it down. Unpin it, and you have your second flap. Now we need one more piece here, and that is we need the plastic backing. There's a piece of plastic that's inside of here, which makes it waterproof. So we're going to take the same pattern that we use to make these, but we're going to cut a piece of plastic from it. And this is just a plastic bag that I got at the marketplace while I was in Yumbe, Uganda. So it's just a cheap plastic bag, but it is waterproof. Right. And now I'm going to cut out the piece of plastic. Okay, now I'm going to unpin. And there's my piece of plastic. Now I'm going to assemble my sanitary pad holder. So the first thing is I'm going to put down one layer that I cut, and I'm going to have the design side up. So this is going to be the pretty side of the fabric is up. And the next thing I'm going to do is take these flaps, you're going to fold them over, and here's your folded edge. And you want the folded edge towards the inside of the pattern, and the same on this side. You're going to take your fabric, you're going to fold it in half, and the folded side is going to go towards the inside. Okay. Then you're going to take your next piece of fabric And now the fancy side or the decorative side of your fabric is going to go to the inside. So you're going to set your decorated side, your design side, down on top. Then you're going to take your piece of plastic and put your plastic on top as your next and final layer. And then you want to pin all your layers together. All right. In the next video session, I am going to show you how we're going to sew this together and how that is going to create this holder. So now we're going to talk about how to make the actual pads that go inside of the holder. So now we're going to be making these that fit inside of here. I'm going to send you a paper pattern. And once again, I suggest that you cut the pattern out and use the pattern going forward, not with paper, but with a strong piece of fabric. I didn't do that. I'm just going to use a separate piece of paper that I cut out to show you how I do this. You're going to want to cut out 2 of these shapes. So I have here a piece of very soft 100% cotton. It's very absorbent, and I can get these as used baby blankets or used baby sheets for what a baby sleeps on. And when they're old, I can cut them up and use them for the sanitary pads. So the first thing I do is I take my pattern. I have folded this into 2 parts. So here's my fold here. I'm going to lay this on here and I'm going to pin it down. And then I'm going to cut the 2 pieces out. Now I've unpinned this, and I'm going to take the 2 pieces that have the design on them and put the design, this is the white side, I'm going to put the design together. And I'm going to repin it. And again, when you sew this, you're going to leave a portion of this completely open. So you're going to sew all the way around here. You're going to leave this open so that we can turn it inside out. Now we're going to sew our pieces of fabric together to create the sanitary napkin holder. What we're going to do is I'm going to start in this corner here, and I'm going to sew all the way around, and I'm going to leave this section open so that we can turn it inside out. Okay, now we have it fully sewn around except for this part right here, which is left open. But before we turn this inside out, we need to do some cutting around these edges so that it lies flat when it's turned inside out. So I'm going to cut some V-shaped cuts along these creases without cutting into the original sewing. Now, when you come to these corners, you're going to want to cut the corners across like this. So 1, 2. You can even trim this down just a little bit if you want to. Get to the corner, cross. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to, as you can see, we have all these cuts through the corners. We have the edges cut off, and we still have this side open. And now we're going to turn it inside out. To get into some of the corners, I use a wooden spoon. All right. So what we have here is it is turned inside out, or right side out, I should say. And you have fabric on both sides, and you have your pockets to hold the sanitary napkin on each side. You will eventually be putting the snaps here and here to hold it in your undergarments. But for now, what we need to do is we need to tuck in this open part of the fabric. And while we do this, we're also going to sew all the way around the outside to keep it flat. So the first thing I'm going to do is tuck in these edges. Pin them down. So I folded them in, and so they're tucked in here and they're pinned down. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to top sew all the way around on the top, right close to the seam. I'm going to sew. Okay, I'm going to start sewing right here, and I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm going to stop here. So I'm going to leave this open. So I finished sewing all the way around, except for I left this open. And now I am going to turn it inside out. But before I do that, I'm going to make a couple of cuts at the corners so that they fold inside out nicely. Okay, as you can see, I've made little V marks at all the corners. And now I'm ready to turn this inside out. All right, I've got it turned inside out, but I have this edge here that needs to be folded in so I can sew on top of it. So I'm folding it together like this. And I'm going to pin it down. There, now I have it all pinned neatly together. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to top sew all the way around. And when I go over the top of this, it will finish sewing it shut. Okay. And now we have made one of the menstrual pads that will fit inside of our, will fit inside of the menstrual pad holder we just made, okay? So we're going to fold this into thirds. And turn it over. We're going to lay it on here. And now we have our menstrual pad in place. For a normal month, I would suggest having 3 or 4 of these. You can be wearing these once a day, but changing these out as you need them throughout the day. So you may need, 6 or so of these during the day, and then you wash them. And then the next day you get a new holder and you've got another set to put in for the next day. So we have finished this and we top stitched it. And now we can take this pad. And it fits inside of here, inside of here. For to hold the sanitary napkin. And I'll show you next how to put the snap on the back. And then we will also go over how to sew these pads.